All right, let's talk about this movie Tar, because I'm genuinely annoyed about this film. It is about a conductor who gets tangled in cancel culture, I guess it would be fair to say. If you would like to protect yourself from everything happening on your computer, go to expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show today, and you can get 3 months free on a 1-year package that will keep your content protected when you're online. Now, Tar was nominated for an Academy Award. It didn't do any business, and it didn't win the Academy Award, as everybody kind of knew it was going to be Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, whatever it's called. But I finally got to see it over the weekend. And here's what I want to say. A lot of people have had opinions. It's got something like in the 90s on the critic side of Rotten Tomatoes. That doesn't mean anything, but it's also got a very high, like 74% on the audience side. And a lot of conservatives have praised it because of its attack on a woke student. I'll play a little bit of that clip. It's a bad film. And now when I say that, I want to be very clear about what I'm saying. It is an objectively bad film. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. This is something people get confused about. They think, it's all a matter of taste. No, it's not. Some art accomplishes what art accomplishes, and some does not. And whether there are plenty of bad things that I like. I like Jason Statham action movies. They're terrible, but I love them. But that doesn't decide it. I don't like Moby Dick, but Moby Dick is a great book. I would rather read Moby Dick at 200 pages than the way it is. But I understand its greatness. But I don't like it. So it's not a question. I'm not saying I don't like it, though I didn't like it. But it's also a bad movie, and I will explain why right now. First of all, I do want to say it's all about so many talented people. All these people are so talented. Cate Blanchett is a wonderful actress. She's just been terrific all her career. She's terrific in this, playing a lesbian, very masculine orchestra conductor. The movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. That is not a forgivable fault in a picture of that kind. That's Lawrence of Arabia. That is a story that goes over generations and covers wars and covers all kinds of characters and all that. This is a small, tiny film that is a lack of discipline. That is a lack of artistic discipline in what is a visual medium, right? It's a visual medium. It's like the Peter Jackson movie of King Kong. Go and watch King Kong and imagine cutting a minute out of every scene. The guy was so popular after Lord of the Rings, no one would tell him to cut the movie. But if you cut a minute out of every scene in King Kong, it's the best King Kong ever made. It's a piece of garbage the way it is because he didn't have the discipline and nobody would exercise the discipline over him. I wrote the movie, excellent movie, Shock to the System. It's based on a novel by Simon Brett. Simon Brett was sent to me. I think he was quoting somebody, but he said to me, everything can be cut, and not only can it be cut, it can be made better by cutting. Let me show you the opening sequence in this, in which Cate Blanchett is interviewed, and the conductor, Tar, is interviewed by a guy from The New Yorker, and it's a real guy from The New Yorker. Just watch this scene for a minute. It is a minute long.
Could we talk a little bit about translation? Because I think there are still people who think of the conductor as a kind of human metronome.
Well, that's partly true.
Yeah, but
keeping time, it's no small thing.
But I suspect there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, well, I would hope so. Yes, but time is the thing. Time is the essential piece of interpretation. You cannot start without me. See, I start the clock. Now, my left hand, it shapes, but my right hand, the second hand, marks time and moves it forward. However, unlike a clock, sometimes my second hand stops, which means that time stops. Now, the illusion is that, like you, I'm responding to the orchestra in real time, making the decision about the right moment to restart the thing or reset it or throw time out the window altogether. The reality is that right from the very beginning, I know precisely what time it is.
Now, I've been to interviews like this, kind of 92nd Street Y type artistic interviews. It's exactly what they're like. That is exactly what they're like. That's not your job. Your job is to represent what they're like in a visual medium and get in a certain piece of information. The only information here is that she's a talented, intelligent, a little bit pretentious artist. And that's basically what you got. You got 90 seconds to sell that in a movie. That's all a good writer needs, is 90 seconds. To do that is this scene goes on just like that for over 5 minutes. over 5 minutes of that garbage, of that a writer saying to you, look how smart I am, look how much I know about music. Here's all my research. I'm dumping so I have to bring my research in a big box and I'm dumping it onto the page so you can see how much work I did. That is undisciplined, bad writing. Doesn't matter if you like it, doesn't matter if you happen to find it was interesting, it's bad. It is just bad. And the thing is, this is happening throughout the movie industry because there is no discipline on these guys. And they're bringing in movies that should be an hour and a half to 2 hours in it over 2 hours. I like to joke, the only federal law I would support in the arts is that if you make a movie that's over 2 hours long and is not Lawrence of Arabia, you can be put to death. That's the only federal law that I would actually support. Now, I know you're enraptured by this video, so you might not be paying attention to the fact that people can steal your information when you're online unless you use ExpressVPN. You ever read that fine print that appears when you start browsing in incognito mode? It says that your activity might still be visible to your employer, your school, or your internet service provider. Not all that incognito. To actually stop people from monitoring your online activity, you need to do what I do and use ExpressVPN. Think about all the times you've used Wi-Fi at a coffee shop, hotel, or even a friend's house, wherever you are right now. Without ExpressVPN, every site you visit can be logged by the admin of that network. That's still true when you're in incognito mode. Your home internet provider can also see and record your browsing data. In the US, they're legally allowed to sell that data to advertisers. ExpressVPN is an app that encrypts all of your network data and reroutes it through a network of secure servers so that your private online activity stays private. ExpressVPN works on all your devices. It's super easy to use. The app literally has one button. You tap it to connect and your browsing activity is secure. Protect yourself with the VPN I trust. Use my link, expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show today and get 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show, expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how do I spell VPN? No, you're not that stupid as you're saying, how do I spell Klavan? It's Klavan. It's absurd to do this. So the scene that everybody likes, see, what everybody's focused on is what the movie says. What the movie says. It's like, I like this because it's anti-woke. And here's the big scene where she approaches a supercilious woke student who's got some weird identity, non-binary, whatever, and so doesn't like Bach because Bach famously had like 100 kids and was a white male. And she corrects him. And this really did bother the left. The left was very upset about the scene. And so, of course, the right loved it. Here's just a little bit of it.
You play really well. But nowadays, white, male, cis composers, just not my thing.
Don't be so eager to be offended. The narcissism of small differences leads to the most boring conformity.
I guess Edgar Varese is okay. I mean, Arcana, anyway.
Oh, well, then you must be aware that Varese once famously stated that jazz was a Negro product exploited by the Jews. Didn't stop Jerry Goldsmith from ripping him off for his Planet of the Apes score. It's kind of a perfect insult, don't you think? But you see, the problem with enrolling yourself as an ultrasonic epistemic dissident is that if Bach's talent can be reduced to his gender, birth country, religion, sexuality, and so on, then so can yours.
So this scene, that basically is the scene, right? I mean, you have, in that scene, you have maybe 2 minutes to make your point. That scene goes on for like 7 minutes. 7 minutes, and it's all about how smart she is and how smart the writer is, really. You are representing things when you tell a story in a movie. You're not showing them, it's like making a movie about World War I that lasts for 4 years, and firing shells in through your window. Well, it was real, it was realistic. It's a bad piece of work. And again, I'm not checking the talent of the people involved, the people were very talented, but it's pretentious, it is way over long. It's not like saying, oh, it's 20 minutes too long, which is already way too long. It's 50 to 60, it's an hour too long, easily, and anybody could have gone into this and cut it to the point where you understood the story. The story's good, just like King Kong. Just like King Kong, the story is good. If you cut it down to 90 minutes, it could have been a great movie. It could have been an absolutely wonderful movie with that kind of talent and that kind of insight and the story that was good. It's bad because it's bad. It's bad because it's badly done. It's bad in the way that a painter painting hands that don't look like hands is bad. This is what art does a thing. Art communicates through storytelling, through music, through whatever it is, through images. It communicates an emotion from one soul to another. It tells you what the inner experience of life is like. In this case, the inner experience of life is boredom because it's just going on too long. Now, a lot of people who are in the music industry, which I'm not, say it's a totally false depiction of that world anyway, but that's not the point. You can do anything you want if it communicates the emotion. All this communicates is that this writer could not rein himself in, and the director especially could not rein himself in.
That's no moon! It's a space station! Ah!
And we should stop talking about, what the thing is about, right? And start talking about the fact that it's badly made. It is badly done. All right, that's my opinion on Tar. I will now go outside and shake my fist in the general direction of Hollywood, and I ask you to do the same. Ultimately, I think they'll just collapse from our ill opinion of them. Gee, I love that guy, don't you? Well, like and subscribe, and also subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show wherever you get your podcasts.